Hello and welcome to Success is Never Accidental, the show where we get to explore all the factors that contribute to success, and I get to interview some highly successful people. I'm Lynne Peyton, and my guest today is Paul Finck, an international speaker, best-selling author, business coach, personal development coach, and entrepreneur. Paul specializes in helping individuals and businesses to get better results through guiding both their personal and business development, using his training in psychology, philosophy, communication skills, time management, and real estate investing, wealth management, among other things. Paul helps people to maximize their success in their employment, helps them to grow their businesses, and he helps them to achieve more in their personal life and to have more fun. So, would you like to have more hours in the day, end each day feeling much more fulfilled? Do you dare to be different? Help me welcome the creator of the Maverick Way, Paul Finck. Hello, Paul. It is so good to see you again, my friend. How are you?
Just a pleasure to see you too. And we are doing phenomenal.
Paul, this show is all about helping people understand what are some of the contributory factors to success. So to start off with, tell me, what does success mean to you?
Success, and like you said, there's so many factors, and success is your own definition. For each individual person, I always say, I'm not here to dictate to you what success looks like for you. You decide. For me, it's a combination of, and everyone talks about that balance in life, but it is about enjoying every day and doing what you love. And the old adage of I get to do what I want, when I want, where I want, sounds really yah. But the reality is that when you get clarity with what do you really want? What do you really enjoy? And you have the freedom of choice to be able to do that every day, is been what has defined success for me. And it's not about how much money I have in the bank account. It's not about how much time off I have. It's about creating a congruency of my day and my year of my life, that every day flows so that I am excited to wake up in the morning. I'm excited to engage in life.
I love that. But you said something really important there. It's about having clarity about
Yes.
what we want from life, isn't it? And actually maybe just taking some time to sit down and think out for ourselves, what would success look like for us in health, in terms of our finances, and in terms of our career progression. And one of the things that you do so successfully in your world, in your workshops and in your masterminds, is really help people to get some of that clarity. So where do people start?
Sit down and decide. There's a couple different angles and ways to get to this. One is, I usually say, if you had all the money, all the time in the world, what would you do? And yeah. Oh, I'd take off. I'd do all this stuff. Well, after you get finished, like exploring the freedom side of it, what would you really do? Like, what would get you excited to wake up in the morning? Are there certain tasks you would do, certain people you'd want to work with, certain ideas you'd want to explore? What is it that really lights you on fire? Because that becomes a lighthouse in your vision. Right? That's where you focus in every day to drive toward that ultimate of what you want. So that becomes that pull factor.
And
Good.
everything about you always exudes energy. If I think of Paul Finck, I always think of your energy and your and you used the word excitement there. So what are some of the things that you do every day that helps maintain that? Because there are days when we all wake up and it's hard just to be as excited as maybe we would like to be. So what are some of your disciplines for keeping that momentum?
Decide. And You know, and it sounds so simplistic, and yet it's, who do you want to be? You know, so much of that, oh, well, there are some days where I don't feel up to it. In that moment, do you have control over your emotion? Do you have control over your thoughts? Do you have control over your actions? And everybody would agree, well, of course I do. However, they don't actually exude that control. They don't actually take charge. They let it take them rather than them taking it. So I don't feel like waking up. I don't feel like moving. Well, okay, then you have two choices. Don't, or decide that's not who you want to be. I started this concept when my children were small. Now they're all grown adults and wonderful. When they were young and wanting to be a great father, when your child comes to you and says, "Hey, do you want to play in the backyard? Do you want to go play ball?" And you've had a long day, you just hit the couch, you're exhausted, you're mentally and physically drained. What do you say? And all too many people give into that being drained and go, "No, no, no, son, I don't have time. I'm not today." I program my brain. And what that means is I reiterated phraseology and techniques to move me to say, I will. So when my son asks me, "Do you want to get up? Do you want to play ball?" I instantly say yes. I commit to the action, even when I don't feel like it, because that's who I wanted to be. And that makes all the difference. When people talk about how to tap into energy, you got to decide you want to tap into energy first. Then the energy comes. Because once you're up and you're moving, once you're going, once you're flowing with that, oh, I'm getting up, I'm going to go play ball with my son. Who gets up on the playing field and just kind of drags their feet? You start getting into it. And one foot leads to another, one action leads to another. And all of a sudden you're playing in a whole different way.
And it becomes habit forming, doesn't it? Because as you said, you program your brain. You recognize you have choices. You remember that you do have control over many of those things. You take the right decision, and then you program yourself to do it over and over again until it becomes who you are. But it doesn't happen overnight. We've got to do
No.
that programming bit. So help us understand a little bit more about how everybody can actually program themselves to get to take the action, because that's the other thing, isn't it? Decisions in themselves don't take us anywhere. We've got to act on those decisions consistently.
Most people waste energy and time beating themselves up over things they don't do. Let's take those things out of the playing field, out of the equation. So when I say that you're going to decide, the second phase of that is you've got to commit. So whatever you decide to do, I want to be, and in my early years, it was, I want to be the best father I can be. And then I began to define that. So what does that look like when it goes to action? Who are my role models? Who are the people? What's the action that I would define as that's being a good dad? That's what it looks like. Well, once I identified the behavior, the actions, then I say, is that who I want to be? Yes. And here's the key question. Every goal, everything that you say you've decided you want to do, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how committed are you to doing whatever it takes to be that person, to take that action, to move forward and achieve that thing? If the number is less than a 10, a 9.5 even, give it up. take it off the table, off the list. You're either going to raise your commitment or lower your goal, but one way or the other, the way it is now and the way it stands is eliminated.
That's a
Because so
tough
many,
standard. That's a tough standard if you're not at a 10.
well, no, you're at a 10 at something. I am committed to be on the couch every day. Well, great. That you're committed to that at a level 10. Right? You're committed to that at a level 10. Well, then with that, then you'll take action and you'll be on the couch every day. Well, something, what is it? Where are you comfortable playing? I'm committed to saying I love you to my wife every day. Well, great. So you can actually check that off. Like, all right, I said I love you. Awesome. Do I say I love you 10 times or one time? And commit. So if, I could say, my commitment is to say I love you every hour. Well, maybe that's not where you're actually going to play. Well, I'll say I love you once a day. Can I get a level 10 commitment out of that?
Okay.
And that's where the rubber meets the road. So many people, and here's where most of our society falls, is that they commit to things because it sounds good. They commit to things because someone else told them, oh, that's what you should commit to. You should be committing to being a hard worker and get excited about what you report to do every day. And yet internally, you're like, yeah, that's a lot of BS. There's no way in hell I'm doing that. I could care less about this job. Well, I don't care how many times you create affirmation around it, how many times you tell yourself, oh, I'm going to play at a level 10 with this. You don't believe it. You don't want it. You're not committed to it. It's never happening. So that becomes an important component, and be really honest with yourself. That if you're not committed to, for instance, I work with a lot of millionaires, a lot of people that want to be sent to millionaires, $100 million producers. And if you're not committed to doing the work, doing the effort, staying on task and focused to make that happen, well, let's change your goal. Don't beat yourself up every day because you're not achieving what everyone tells you you're supposed to be going after. Go after what you really want and commit to that at a level 10.
So it all starts then with living on purpose, because we can commit to the things that we're most passionate about, which
Yes.
for many of us are being effective as parents, as partners, whatever. So, but talk a little bit about, you said there that you work with a lot of business owners and people who aspire to be very successful in business. And it's tough out there being a small business. And one of you work particularly with startups. What are some of you've got to have the mindset, first of all, to say, I'm going to make this business a success and I'm going to commit to doing it. And I'm going to take the actions and the hard work and put in the hard work that take me in that direction. But talk about some of the strategies that you need to be successful. Not just, I suppose, in small business, but in any kind of employment. What are some of the strategies, like time management or prioritization?
Yeah. So a couple of things in structuring a business. I will tell you, there's a ton of chit chat out there. People leave their corporate world and they want to go into business. And because of all the social media and all the components of, podcasting and communication and, let me go write a book. And they believe all those are businesses. And none of that is actually a business. A business is exchanging information or value, or an exchange of value. Well, so many people are getting into business these days and they don't have a product, they don't have a service, they don't have a price point for what they're charging. That's not a business. If you want to open up a coffee shop, you've got to figure out what coffee you're selling, and you got to figure out what price you're selling it at. So one of the core components is make sure that you actually have a product or service that is clear that you're bringing to market for an exchange of value, that they're paying you something for it. The second step is then, when you talked about time management, absolutely stay focused on your time management. And people get, oh, well, I'm busy. I'm booked solid. I've got all these things. Only, are you doing the highest and best use of your time every day? What does the highest and best use of your time mean? It means that you are doing, and especially at the beginning, you've got to get ultra focused with this or you're not going to succeed. You've got to be making sure that your time is spent doing income producing activity. Because if you don't have the fuel to keep the ship running, it will not succeed. So you've got to have the money coming in. You've got to have that fuel to keep the engines rolling. And that is money. That is cash. And so what is your income producing activity? Identifying that and making sure every day you have at least one thing that is creating income producing activity. The second component of that, and the rest of your day should be filled with either what will help to produce more hours of income producing activity, or what will create your dream life, which is the culmination of all the pieces in your world coming together sometime in the future to say, oh, this is the life I really meant to have. And so every day, and there's all the philosophers from millennial in the ages say, you're either growing or you're dying. Your business is either moving forward or it's moving back. You're either moving towards your dream life and creating a successful business, or you're not. And one of the hardest things for people to get is there is no neutral. There is no just like, yeah, we're just kind of seeing where it goes. There's none of that works. You've either got to be taking steps and making sure that every day is focused in on income producing activity, moving you towards your dream life, or you're guaranteed you're moving away.
And it is so hard for people to grasp that there is no such thing as just standing still or biding your time or putting in the next 5 years until retirement. It's because it's soul destroying. It eats away at you inside. So what are some of the ways, say someone feels a bit stuck at the moment, maybe in a job that they used to enjoy, but somehow it's lost the buzz for them. How do they get back that sort of buzz that makes them really get out of their comfort zone and do something?
Question. Yeah. And for all of you that are listening, I have been an entrepreneur now for almost 40 years. I've never actually worked for anyone in my whole career. It's all been straight commission sales, distribution companies, or designing things out of thin air and building businesses around it. And so this idea of picking yourself up from your bootstraps and just moving forward is just part of my cellular being, if you will. But when you're in scenarios where, all right, I'm reporting every day, I'm not cutting the strings here and leaving immediately. So you've got to love what you do. The old adage, be with the one you love and love the one you're with. You've got to learn to love regardless. Your love, your passion, your excitement is an emotion that you have control over. And so you've got to decide that you're going to be happy at work, that you're going to be happy with going through your days over the next month, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, whatever you decide. Be excited, be happy to be there, or don't. And that's really key. And so what does that look like? So now I'm deciding, you know what? I'm not going to just play play, I'm not going to just phone it in, the old expression, I'm just going to phone in my work. I'm just going to kind of go through my paces. Be clear. You are a leader. Decide that you want to be a leader, for instance, and that's how I train my people. You want to be a leader. You want to be someone who is proactive. You want to be someone taking charge of your life. Well, what you do here, you do everywhere, which means every minute that you're in work, you've got to be the same person as you want to be in the other endeavors that you have in your life. So if you're not passionate at work, you're not putting in it all, you're not really playing full out, you're not being the person that you want to be at work, all those things are going to play out in your personal life as well, and in any other endeavor you play into. If, or how about when, you play full out, you actually wake up and you give it your all, everything that you touch that day, everything becomes better. Your life, the work, the people around you become better people because you show up in that way. And everything in your world, both personal and business, grows, develops, and gets more exciting. So you've got to decide, who do you want to be? And so draw the line and say, what was it that excited me the first days I was in this job? What was it that excited me the first moments that I was there? Taste that again.
That's such
Hold on.
good advice. And also focus on all the lives that you touch during the day. Focus and give thanks. You know, you and me, we both practice gratitude. It's just
every day, gratitude journal. What do you really appreciate about what you do? Why are you doing it? Why did you do it in the first place? What got you excited? And remember those components.
And a gratitude journal, or even just reflecting, although I like you, I like to write everything down, because when you see it, it becomes more real. But maybe if there was one tip that we could leave people with, it is something to do with that reflection and be grateful piece at the end of every day, Paul.
Oh, every day. And I'm a firm believer that it's not just at the end of the day, it's at the beginning too. You know, when you wake up in the morning, what are you excited about? What are you excited to accomplish, to do, to be, to live within that day? And that starts the night before. So every night I go through exactly what I'm going to be doing the next day, what I'm looking forward to, what I'm excited to do, what are my tasks that I need to do the next day. So every night I'm already prepping myself for the next day, so that I work on very little sleep every night. And people are like, how do you keep that up? How do you do? Because I'm excited to get up in the morning, because I programmed my mind the day before that I've got things that I want to do the next day. Fill your life with what you want. It'll give you so much more.
Such beautiful advice, my friend. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your insights, your experiences with us today. And I'm so sorry I'm not going to be able to come to that mastermind next week, but I wish you well, and keep doing what you're doing and keep inspiring people to be the best they can be. Thank you so much, Paul Finck.
Thank you so much, Lynn. It's an absolute pleasure, and we will see each other soon. Talk to you soon.
So many insights and wisdom coming from Paul Finck today. He said success is a personal matter, and it's about how we define ourselves. So it starts with actually doing that and defining what success means to us. And we can do that by getting clarity about what we want to achieve in every area of our life. Paul said, we need to start with deciding who it is we want to be as a partner, as a parent, in our career, in our business, and in our community. Then we have to take control of our emotions, our thoughts, and our actions. Every day, he said, we get to make choices about how we feel and how we behave. So he had said we have to decide how committed we are and then go for the things that we are truly committed to and maybe drop the things that we haven't got that strong level of commitment for. Paul talked about deciding to be energetic and enthusiastic regardless of how he's feeling. And that's back to us being able to control our mindset and programming our brains to be the best version of ourselves. And Paul said he's programmed to saying yes and then finding the energy to do whatever it is. And energy was a word that he used a lot. And he cautioned us not to waste our time and our energy beating ourselves up over things that we didn't do, but practicing gratitude for the things that we did get to do, the people we got to meet, reflecting at the end of every day on how we added value, who we helped. Paul talked about managing our time, which is a subject that we look at all the time in our leadership programs. And he said, we've got to plan our day in advance and then ensure that we make highest and best use of our time by doing the things that are most important, by doing the things that only we can do. But if we're in business, that's about ensuring we focus on income producing activities, because without cash flow, businesses fail. And he said, regardless of what industry or sector we're in, we're either growing or dying. There is no standing still in nature, in business, or in life. So we have to decide what we want to do. And if currently we're feeling frustrated in our career, in our employment, we have to find ways where we can choose to be happy at work. We can choose to be leaders. We can choose to be role models and good examples. And we must choose to be grateful for every interaction and every opportunity. And we must, above all, reignite the passion. What brought us into this work? How do we tap back into that focus and energy and passion? So if success is about becoming the person that we need to be, that we want to be, then I want to challenge everybody listening to this call today and ask you this: where are you currently not playing at a level 10? And what decisions do you need to make? What choices must you make? And what actions must you take to get back on track? Because success is never accidental. Thank you for joining me, and see you next time on Success is Never Accidental, the show where we get to learn more about the contributory factors to success and we get to meet some really successful people.